Do it. All right, we're back. Hopefully, hey everybody. I don't know if anybody's going to join us. Second time around, they're like, these guys don't know what they're doing technologically. They don't know what they're doing. All right, so now, Layla, hopefully you will join me. And I want people to hear your story. So I'm excited about this. And I think it's an important story for people to hear. So thanks you guys for joining us today, which is our edition of Just Two Dads. I think it's only going to be just one dad today. We're waiting for our special guest to join us. And Layla Luna, who has created a nonprofit organization born out of an amazing story, which she's going to share with us. She is a warrior. She's a single mom of three, living in the Southern California area, and she has just an incredible story to share. And so hopefully we're going to get her online now. Ask to join, and then we'll get rocking and rolling here. I have seen, I saw Will and Grace do live edition of an episode, and things were supposed to fall out of a closet, and it didn't fall out properly. And oh, there she is. Let's see if we can get her back in here. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. It's thinking it wants to add her. I don't know if this is going to happen. Hope you're all having a great day. It's Wednesday, hump day, as they say. It is September 23rd, 2020. I don't know, what are we, 40 days, 41 days from our election. It's been a crazy period of time. All right, it's not allowing me to do this. We've never had this difficulty adding guests to our show, and I don't know what's happening today. I don't know what is happening. Okay, the guest declined the live video invitation. We'll try one more time here, guys. Thank you. Thank you guys for trying to be part of this. Just having some issues technologically. Nope, guest declined the live video invitation. Yeah, but we're not. We're having some difficulty here. First of all, I want to get everybody to look at her website, which is amazing. Apparently, we're just going to do live audio. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we're going to give that a shot. So let me point you to her website, because I think her website is amazing. It is Just Be the Change. Just Be the Change, and it's got the symbol of a little b, actually. Justbethechange.org. So I encourage you all to go there to justbethechange.org and see a little bit of the backstory, what it was that that had her decide to form the foundation, and what the story was, how it was involved. She said she sent you a friend, accepted. Okay, that's not going to do it. It's about making the world sensory friendly. So hopefully we're going to get this rocking and rolling, guys. I don't know what to say here, but we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. And one more time. Hello, April. I don't know if you're still there. Hey, Glenn. Mark Duvall. Thank you guys for being on this thing. I apologize for the delays and the challenges we're having here, technical issues. We had this figured out yesterday. Okay, one more try. Approve. It says it's adding. Keep our fingers crossed. Don't think this is going to happen for some reason. I'm not sure why. Well, we're going to do this interview with Layla because she's phenomenal. And even if we have to record it and then play it, we want you to see it. We want you to see her story. We want you to see what she's all about. We want you to see the fight that she is championing for all of us at creating empathy. And she's calling you right now. Okay, so she's calling now. See if this happens. Again, I'm not sure exactly how we do this. This is going to be her. Hello. Are you there? Layla?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Why can I not get on this?
I don't know. It's kind of crazy. You've seen my invites, yeah?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Layla? Can you hear me on the phone? Layla?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
You,
it can't work. The trouble's on my end with that, so that's not going to work. Okay, so I'm on with Brian, so let's just...
Yeah.
I'm gonna shut you guys down, okay?
All right.
Hey, Brian.
Hello there.
Hi, I have no idea what's going on, but I am a real person, and I don't understand. Facebook doesn't like me.
I don't understand why we had that issue, and I hope that this is going to be. Again, I'm holding you on the phone. Layla's a real person, everybody. I just want you all to know.
Hi.
So hopefully this will make some sense and people will be able to get it. I think, will you check with Sean Francis on phone and just see if he's able to see this, if that's possible, and see if this is actually coming through. Thank you, Devin. I've got my distance right here. Now Sean wants to be in the video. Let's see if I can add Sean while you're here, Layla, and see if that works, because Sean and I have done this before in the past, and we're connecting with Sean. So for some reason, Facebook didn't like your connection. Okay. All right.
Let me see if I can maybe move my connection. Sometimes I have a low bandwidth or something like that. But okay, but we can keep talking on the phone, and I can try to see if I can log on too. Maybe we're having some technical issues, I guess.
Okay.
But I would love to just kind of start off with just be, and see. I see you. I'm on my laptop. I'll try to see if you can add me.
Okay. I may not be able to add you if Sean is on. Sean, now you're going sideways on us.
Okay, there you go.
But that's right.
We're on Facebook now, Sean.
Sorry, we're playing.
That's okay. So Layla, you're going to try to connect us on Facebook Live?
I'm trying, but no, you just went to a blur, so I don't know what just happened.
All right. Well, let's do this. Sean, can you hear Layla okay?
Yes, I can. I can hear her.
Okay, great. So Layla, I really want people to see your face here.
I can't even get your video now. I'm saying sorry, we're having trouble playing this video.
I'm not surprised. Some connectivity issues, I think, with Facebook for some reason. I don't know what's going on. But Layla, let me ask you this. While we're trying to figure this thing out, tell us your story and how you came to found this company and this organization, Just Be the Change, because I think it's fascinating. I want people to hear it.
And even if we do this as a short interview today, and then we get you on screen here shortly, because I want people to see the passion, that you. Oh, look, you're trying to add. We'll try one more time. Try one more time. Let me see if it may or may not allow us to do it.
Come on, make it happen. But if not, you're just gonna have to listen to my voice.
Yep, can't bring you on camera because Sean's already on. Okay.
I can leave.
All right, so Sean exit.
I'll do that.
Sean exit. Let's see if we can do it one more time.
I moved locations. If not, I'm just gonna talk it out so your viewers can hear my story, and hopefully I'll be asked back.
You will. You definitely will be asked back. We're trying to add you now.
It's so weird when I try to hit join, it just doesn't. Are you even getting me trying to hit join?
Well, it says adding on the screen. So,
yeah.
And Sean is watching. Let's see if we can add you here.
Please.
And you're not getting anything, huh? You're not seeing any, like it's.
It just shows like your picture, my picture, trying to broadcast. Bananas.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh well.
All right. Yeah.
But I can see you, so you're just gonna hear me for you and all your viewers.
Okay, good. So mute your computer so you don't hear echo.
No,
But,
I already turned it off.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So tell us how you started this, why, where it came about, a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your children. It gives you a fascinating story. Start from the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, so Just Be was created as a nonprofit organization. And basically, I've been in the entertainment business my whole life, a professional dancer and choreographer. So, my business was entertainment. It was never to be an activist or go into the philanthropy world. But I have a 12-year-old son who's autistic, nonverbal. His name's Rio, and I have 2 younger daughters. And just one day, I just took my son to the local pizza restaurant, the place that I've been going to my whole life, since I've been a little girl. I'm born and raised in Calabasas, so I'm local. And just on this particular night, it just took forever for us to get seated, to get the pizza, and to get the check. And Rio had what they call a sensory overload meltdown. He just started crying, screaming, banging his head. And because my son looks typical, he looks like every other kid, all the customers start screaming at me to control my kid. What kind of mother am I? What a brat. And then the restaurant kicked us out. So
wow.
Outside,
so the restaurant asked you to leave?
Yeah, they kicked us out. They didn't even ask. They're like, you have to go.
Oh my God.
People were being so mean, and it's a very popular local restaurant. You guys have all eaten there. And it was kind of like I was there with my son, trying to control him, with my younger daughter, Layla. I had to call my dad in a 911, like Mayday. My dad came and got us, and I remember when I got in the car, I was so angry. I was crying. I was like so upset. All I kept saying is, why can't people just be nice? Why can't they just be kind? Why can't they understand he's autistic? And I reached for my daughter's swaddle blanket, and it had bumblebees all over it. And I was like, just be. And my father, being a pilot, he was like, bumblebees have mystified scientists for hundreds of years. Technically, they shouldn't be able to fly because their bodies are too long and fat, and their wingspan is too short, so they shouldn't be able to lift. And yet they do them possible. And I was like, yeah, just like autistic kids, they can do them possible. And that was it. Like, I went home, I went to sleep, and I remember the next day I woke up and I was like, all I kept thinking about was like, what if that restaurant had known that Rio was autistic? What if they were trained? What if they had just seated us right away? Would that night have gone down the way it did? And that was my call to action. That was the birth of Just Be. So Just Be is basically a training curriculum designed by one of the leading doctors in the field, Dr. Diane Cullinane, who's a rock star. And it teaches businesses hire Just Be to come in and train them how to become sensory-friendly environments. Then these businesses have the opportunity to create discounts, roundup, set events, sensory-friendly hours of operation. Because what most people don't understand is that 1 out of 54 kids in America is diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, and the numbers are much higher. That's not even the Latino and the African American communities that are not getting diagnosed, mainly due to stigma. Autism is the fastest growing epidemic of our time. It will surpass diabetes in 5 years. There's no cure for autism. Autism is a diagnosis. I mean, the average person in their lifetime they will cost anywhere from $1.4 to $2.4 million. So being that it's the fastest growing epidemic of our time, it's going to cost the United States $1 trillion a year. So we're looking at a big financial issue and a gap in our society. So basically, there's a lot out there about autism, like awareness. I mean, like my son's 12, I'm aware, I got it, he's autistic.
Yeah.
Or don't bully. Okay, well, not everyone's a bully, but what there's a disconnect, and where Just Be comes in, is most families that have an autistic child or adult, they don't leave their house. They live in their room. Now listen up, guys. They live in their room in their house. They never go to the movies. They never go to dinner. They never travel. They never get to see their friends. They have no social life. Now, does that sound familiar for all of us right now? That's COVID-19.
Right.
What you have as a community, as a world, is in this pandemic have experienced for the last 6 months of that isolation of away from your normal life. You've just experienced a life of autism. So what Just Be does is it bridges that gap between the millions of families that do not go out in public. They do not spend money in their local businesses because they're afraid of how they're going to be perceived, judged, disrespected, or even discriminated against. So what B does is it bridges that gap, creating revenue for these businesses from this untapped market. And then these businesses eventually will give us that quality of life that everybody has. Now, every business has down hours, downtime, where they're not busy.
Right.
Where they're just paying employees just to kind of stand there waiting for like maybe the lunch rush or the dinner rush. We're talking about restaurants.
Right.
Just Be works with these businesses. And these businesses can do anything. Like they can say, okay, from 11 to 4, we're dead. Those will be Just Be hours, and we'll give your customer 25% off. That's what Roundtable Pizza, Sean in Tarzana has offered. He's taken the pledge. And that way, I mean, imagine, especially post-COVID, everybody needs business.
Right.
And if I can go there between 11 and 4, like I don't want to be at Roundtable at 6 p.m. when it's packed. Like, no thanks. I'd rather go at 4:35 where it's calm and I'm respected, and if my son has a meltdown, no one's judging. And I then become a loyal customer. This is community helping community. Now with autism and Just Be, it's not about the disabilities. I'm talking about the possibilities. If we keep a whole generation, 90% of all autistic adults are unemployed. We have 7.1 million children sitting in their house right now not going to school because of COVID and special education. What do you do with a generation of children that are living in their room? Now, we know that autism is like a bunch of rock stars. Like, let's see who's in this lane. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Tesla, Einstein, all the stuff, Greta. Some of the greatest minds have been on the spectrum. Almost everything that's being done on your phone is being done by someone on the spectrum. But if we hide a generation of children, like my son, we have no idea who he could be. Maybe he has the next cure for cancer. Maybe, these children are going to change their world with their difference. It's not about changing the child to fit the environment. It's about changing the environment to fit the child. And this is the whole goal of, Just Be is a training curriculum, but it's a movement for neurodiversity, which is a civil right under our Constitution. But yet it's a generation and it's a population of people that don't get that same kind of equality. I'm talking about autism equality.
Right.
And this is what Just Be is about. And I'm a mother on a mission, and I refuse to leave this world unless it's going to be a better place for my son. Because right now, it's not good enough. And at the end of the day, the belly of it, and this is why I seek any time or chance, even whether it's my voice or my video or my face, to speak to your followers, because we need to build our tribe. We need to build our voice. Just Be is to go for corporate social responsibility. I want the big boys. They have to change. They have to change the way they do their business, and they need to hire us, and they need to work with us, and they need to be part of this community. But, it's kind of like boots on the ground. Eventually, I'm fundraising to create an app that would be 10, 10, and 10 categories, 10 businesses every 10 miles, kind of like the Yelp of autism.
I love that.
Because I'm all about technology. Mom, and I'm like, my son is flipping out. I need to eat. Where can I go? I'm in Tarzana. I get on my app, and I'm like, okay, these places are bee friendly, we can go right now, and I can tell the waitress and the hostess immediately that he's a bee, and we get seated. So this is the, you know, the app and the tech is the future for Just Be, to connect all of us, for us to be able to rate these places. Guess what, guys? This place sucks. You know, like, and have that power of that voice. So yes, it's a movement. And the ultimate goal at the end, if we can all kind of make these businesses really come together, is to create California as the first sensory-friendly state.
Amazing.
That's what I'm doing.
I think it's, I mean, I think it's incredible. And I think that, and by the way, just so you know, Layla, we got, Sean was able to get on the screen. So Sean's on the screen as well. He can hear you too. So I'm sorry that we had this technical difficulty, but I'm fascinated by this story because I don't think that people with neurotypical children realize that families who have special needs kids, we don't want to go to some place that's completely crowded and overloaded with sensory overload. Like, we know our children, we know that that's not going to be a successful campaign. To your point, right? You want to go to some place where there's the calming atmosphere, or, you know, something where the sensory input is going to be muted, and it's going to be something that'll be, you know, easily tolerated. Like, we don't want our children, nobody wants their children to have a meltdown, you know, in a public place. But the last thing we're doing it is, you know, in an area that's going to disrupt a whole bunch of folks. It's interesting how families, it seems like individuals will vilify people because their children have a meltdown in a public place. And so it's amazing that you were able to take that experience and turn it into something positive. And now as you talk about it, I'm thinking to myself, my God, why don't we do this? Why don't businesses and public places such as restaurants and, you know, coffee shops, why don't they cater to this particular industry, you know, to this segment of the population where you have a quiet space?
Because we don't stand together, because as parents, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, because I get a delay, sorry. You know, we kind of like, we've watched so many communities rise, from the gay community to, you know, Black Lives Matter, to Me Too, to, you know, trans. It's something about us parents that have special children, we kind of like, oh, we're a little bit ashamed, or we don't want to bother, and we had one bad experience. But no, that's like that's the missing piece, is that we haven't been loud. We haven't put pressure on, like, the airlines. Come on, how many children and families get off the airlines? No way.
Right.
No way. You cannot kick someone off in the airplane or in a movie theater because they make too much noise because they're autistic. But yet it happens all the time.
Yep. It does.
So we have to kind of come together and understand that neurodiversity is the movement, that AE, autism equality, is the movement, and that even all businesses need to have, where, like, you know, you sit in some of these big boards and they have to hire a certain amount of women, they have to hire a certain amount of ethnicities, but nothing about disabilities. Nothing.
Yep.
And I'm over it. Like, I dig my kid. I love my kid. My kid is perfect. I don't need him to change. I need you to change. You know, I'm good. And
right.
So this is the thing, is why, and it makes, but the businesses, between all of us, they only care about the dinero. So if we come in with 10,000 followers, 100,000 followers, and we're loud and we are together, they're going to listen because it's all about the dinero.
Sure.
And because Just Be has a revenue model to it, they will listen. And if that's our foot in the door, the app will be an umbrella for everybody. Everybody.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think that one of the biggest points is, I don't believe that businesses have looked at quantifying the buying power of this segment of the population. I think that's
one out of every 54 kids. Those are big numbers.
Those are big numbers. And it's not had the focus of what that translates to as far as dollars are concerned. And listen, to your point, I love the point that you make, that we all have basically experienced an element of autism, because we're locked in our houses and we're limited in our interaction with people, and we can't go out and talk. To some degree, we're experiencing that. And by the way, look at how much divisiveness and anger and frustration around these restrictions exist for
neurotypical families. They're kind of getting it, right? They get it for the first time, like, oh my God, this is what families deal with. But I think that the challenge is, to some degree, is that businesses now are having to put, COVID-19 protections in place and COVID-19 compliance officers in place, and so they're seeing the expense of having to protect their customers and their employees from the spread of the virus. And so I know that the first thing that most businesses will think about was how much does it cost to incorporate this? And is it emphasized training, or is it,
Okay.
or what is it exactly that they get when they talk to you?
The curriculum is, because I'm a nonprofit, we're asking for, like, right now, post-COVID, I'm asking for businesses just to take a pledge. Just take the pledge to do whatever we ask. Usually it's about $100 donation, and it's tax deductible because I am a 501c3. This is not big money. It's not like crazy. And then if it goes into, it's a webinar, so it's like $20 per view. And then once they viewed it, then they can move on. And it's basically for businesses need to get certified. Once they're certified, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, because I see that his screen's going out. Once they get certified, businesses have to do a couple things to follow our guidelines. They have to put the sticker in the window, letting people know that it's a bee-friendly environment. And then what we do is we promote them social media-wise. We blast it. I am working now with creating Mad Mondays, which is Make a Difference Mondays, for businesses to start giving discounts or take out or whatever they have to do, or give a discount from maybe from 1 to 8 p.m. And then 20% of that goes to Just Be. And then that's transitioned back into awareness, education, the development of the app, because I'm fundraising for that.
Sure.
But that's what we want to do. We want to get out in the local community, and then we list them. I mean, I do all the work. I'm blasting them social media-wise, saying that, Round Table Pizza has taken the pledge, or this dentist has taken the pledge. And so far, everyone is wanting to learn. And then their employees and employers learn how to become sensory-friendly trained by one of the leading doctors. It's no more than like 25 minutes. It's very easy, but it's so much knowledge in knowing how to, if you have a meltdown situation, if there's a nonverbal, if there's someone who's not making eye contact, just to recognize people on the spectrum and create a safe zone. A safe zone.
Yeah, what's incredible? It's very similar to what we're seeing in the conversation about sort of the reformation of police forces around the country. It's sort of like,
correct,
we're trying to instigate a de-escalation program, right? And give them the tools to de-escalate a situation that, that doesn't necessarily have to be met with force. To your experience, they kicked you out of the restaurant as opposed to finding a way to create some sort of, knowledge base and some way to de-escalate a situation so that it doesn't disrupt, what I would call their, air quote, their normal way of doing business. And so, I mean, I think that the great thing about what's happening right now is that the time is perfect, because we're now having these conversations with, in public, and spreading the word for the need for these kinds of things. De-escalate a situation that doesn't have to be met with force. Have some empathy. Surround yourself with just a knowledge base, and understand that the differences are what make our world, beautiful. And that just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that they're wrong. You don't understand the other side of the other situation doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just creates an opportunity for learning. And I think that's your message couldn't be come at a better time. And how long ago did you start this foundation, by the way, this organization?
Yeah, my nonprofit started, I got my 501c3 in 2019. So I'm pretty new on the scene, but since then, I've already gotten a proclamation from the mayor of Southgate creating April's Autism Awareness. I've gotten grants. I'm a speaker for the Best You Expo LA. Now I'm doing Dallas as an activist. I'm working with council members. I was supposed to speak at City Hall, and I'm hoping to create, council member Blumenfeld in our district in Calabasas is to create maybe a first city that would be sensory friendly. I have a lot of things in the works as far as just creating this, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, collectively, we as parents we have to understand that, like, everyone is like, where's the cure? Where's the cure? Is there a cure? And I'm always, no matter how hard, and I'm going to be honest with all your viewers, like, no matter how much we would love a cure, I mean, I think nobody's cried more than I have. I mean, I've cried an ocean for my son, but as a mother, but, like, at the end of the day, I really believe that they're here to cure us. We need to be better. We need to be kinder. We need to have more empathy and compassion for people that are different. And thinking outside of the box is a good thing. And this is kind of where we need to find this lane for our children and our adults.
Yeah.
Layla, can I ask you a question?
It's huge. Sure.
Yeah.
Sean?
Sorry, we're never going to forget this with all this technical stuff. But let me ask you this, Layla.
It's telling me, I have high energy.
I've thought about it back and forth because I remember my wife actually mentioned this to me. She's like, I don't know what I would do if Elijah was cured. There are the obvious things that you would gain in terms of the higher level to which he'd be able to express himself, which would mean a higher level of self-sufficiency in the world and everything. And the value of that is priceless. But for anybody listening, I'd have to ask, have you given thought to, if you gain that, have you thought about what you would lose? Because there's things that are so uniquely wonderfully him that just, have you thought about what you would lose in your child? Now, again, some of these challenges you'd give up in a heartbeat for the game, but some of those things, it's not just, whether or not he'd obviously be better off or worse off, but I've thought, like, just what would some of those things be like? And that's where you go back to, I guess the question is, how much have you accepted of what is versus how much do you want to change? And I don't know how many times people think about that. It's funny because, we're all advocates and warriors here, but when you were talking in the beginning about, here you are speaking to someone who is, more than likely to the person who is the parent of a neurotypical child, saying, children with autism, you spend time in the room, you don't go out, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like stepping outside myself, looking at me or us, realizing, oh my gosh, I know that's us, but at the same time, I'm being reminded that is us. And the biggest thing is, at least for us, the movies are not as big a deal as it used to be. It's still kind of touchy there. But the biggest thing, especially because it's your example, is a restaurant. What is that like? And people don't know. People don't know. They have no idea. And if I'm in those shoes and I still forget, what it's like, or the fact that they're not our shoes only, the same thing can only be true for anybody else. But I'm making statements. I began with a question. Have you ever thought of what it would mean for him to be, quote unquote, cured, and what you would give up versus what you would gain? Have you ever thought of that?
I mean, for me, I don't really, there are things that are so annoying, like the diapers and, like things that financial that I would just be over it. And I would love for Rio to be able to talk. But honestly, we understand each other. I understand him. He writes things. He does rapid prompting methods. So he's communicated. I know that he's a savant. I know he's a genius. I've heard his words. I know he loves me. But honestly, it's like, this sounds so corny, but it changed my eyes. He changed my eyes. The way I see the world, the way I see people. I was a dancer, like, me and my narcissism, let's make some money, I'm that girl, the one driving down the freeway, like, texting, and, that's me. I was not caring about really anybody, in the sense that I was a good person, but I didn't have this deep compassion and this philanthropic drive until Rio came. And then it was like, they have a saying, like, the most dangerous animal is when she's wounded.
Right.
It's so true.
For sure.
Like, then the mama bear came and the mother on a mission started, and honestly, he's my purpose. He's the reason. And sometimes you look at your life like, how did I end up here? And then you realize, you look up to the sky and you're like, okay, I get it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
Yeah.
They say special people get special children.
For sure.
It's 100% true. It's true.
Yeah.
Because we're all amazing. I mean, we're warriors.
Yeah.
I think we're the soldiers.
Yeah. God doesn't give us things that he doesn't
Can't handle.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was going to ask you something else. You know, you talk about the experience, with a child in an atmosphere where other people are, and some of the training that you would provide to give, to give management some tools in order to handle something like that. But I would assume that there are other things that are, that are stimulating in an environment, whether it's visual, use of light, color,
Sound.
Yeah.
Does that come into your purview as well? Is that would just be the change? Was it part of that? What that support would?
Just Be has. This is just the first tier. So the next phase of Just Be is creating the headphone sets, the Hush. They're called Hush, and they will be in every single major place, whether it's Dodger Stadium, the airports, malls, a kiosk. So anytime you walk into a place, if you can get, in my opinion, if you can get a wheelchair or a high chair, you should be able to get sensory friendly headphones.
Yes.
And then they can, you can endorse it. You can put any kind of, work with it, whether it says Dodgers or Staples Center on it, whatever the endorsement is going to be. But this needs to be mandatory that if we go out and the volume and the sensory is too hardcore for our children, that they can just go get their headphones, or we can create a line. The next phase is the Bee Watch, because my son is nonverbal, and I actually rescued a boy on Ventura Boulevard. He got lost. And, I think that our kids, 90% of all children nonverbal that run, that go out, they end up dead because they either drown or they get lost. So if our child is to get out and work with LAPD, work with the fire EMTs to have this tracking, not to track our kids, but track my kid. I don't care. I want to know that he's alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. We had that experience too. Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I was saying we had that experience too. And again, when you're focused in the moment, it's been a while since it happened, but Elijah was probably, I don't know, maybe 8 or something like that. Just disappeared for a minute. Wasn't quite sure where he wasn't missing for a long period of time. And he had gotten into
any period of time is a long period of time when that happens.
Right.
To your child. It doesn't matter how long it is.
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody knew where he was.
If our pets don't have a collar on or they're not chipped, most likely you're not going to find your dog or your cat.
Right.
I mean, I hate to compare it to that, but back in the day, they used to have bracelets if you had diabetes.
Mm-hmm. But the same principle applies. I was standing in the backyard. I asked around the house, anybody seen him? Where he is? And I happened to stand still. I heard a little noise. Look over the fence, and he was in the neighbor's pool.
Dogs,
about
90%
here.
of them drown.
Yes, right. Because if I hadn't been home at that very minute, that's what would have happened. Yep, absolutely.
You are so lucky.
Oh, yeah.
So lucky.
I know.
Yeah, I think
Trust me.
Usually it doesn't end up like that.
It's amazing too when you think about it. It's any family who is dealing with an elderly parent who has onset of Alzheimer's. Your concerns are the same, right? Mm-hmm. They don't respond to they're hypersensitive to outward stimulus. They get lost. They don't have the ability to communicate where they are, where they from, who they are, where they live, any of that stuff. There's a lot of the fears that occur. So it's interesting because the reason I bring it up is that for those people who are watching this, who think, well, I don't have a special needs child. Does this really apply to me? At some point in your life, the concerns that we have for our children are going to be concerns that you're going to have for somebody in your family at some point in time. And it's almost like it's inevitable. Something is going to happen where you need the extra support. I think about those Hush. I love the idea of a Hush headphone. I think about that for my aunts who were in their late 80s. My grandmother when she was alive, like they don't want to have loud noises. They can't handle that extra oral the oral stimulation, right? They can't handle that as well. So what you're talking about is setting a standard for our children to be able to exist in a world with other folks. But this is gonna what you're talking about could address a huge demographic of the population.
I think everyone everyone. Westfields, they'll all take it, and
Yeah.
ladies, later you can use it for dating if you want.
And you're the first person,
you don't want
which
to
is
hear them that.
which is
Yep.
interesting. You're the first person I've heard of in a while that's talked about something that will serve the special needs community, the autism community, which is a subsect of that community, and then tied it from a purpose and business standpoint to dollars and cents.
Totally.
I've not heard that. I'm like, why not? And like you said, it's unfortunate, but we know about the 5 love languages. We need to be able to speak the language of the people that we're speaking to. And if we're talking to corporations about here's how you help serve people, our community needs this and needs that, we can tell them it would be just, it would be moral to have sensory screenings at a theater or whatever, which those things exist. But
right.
I would imagine.
But
The
not all the
dollars.
time. Not with the. Okay, so example, AMC Theater. They should have weekly movies, certain time schedule for people with disabilities, blah blah blah. Now,
Right.
if like when Just Be starts, and I'm just here to tell my story. I'm sharpening my pencil and I'm telling my story because my story is my son. But eventually, this is for all disabilities.
For sure.
Definitely.
This opens a huge can and disabilities. People that are disabled. Now we're in COVID-19, guys. Do you hear anything about our community? No, it's homeless and elderly. There's nothing mentioned in the stimulus. There's nothing on TV about the disabled. My girlfriend has an autistic daughter and 3 other kids. All 4 of her kids had to sit in the car while she waited in line for 1 hour to go market. This is not the way it needs to be. It needs to be different. That's why I'm always like, things need to change, and Just Be's that change. They need to open up times, shopping. Now, COVID is a great thing because these businesses, they're hungry. They want to stay in business. They're going to work with us. They need us.
Right.
They need us. We don't need them anymore. They need us.
Agreed.
Right,
And
definitely.
By
By
the way-
offense and defense.
And by the way, I would say, not only are you talking about a demographic that's been ignored, but when you take it to the next step, you take, folks with disabilities in the minority populations, if you're in the Black community and disabled like you, it's a double whammy. It's
Right. There's different levels of being marginalized. That's right.
Completely.
If
100%.
you're a single mom and you don't speak
Single
English
mom.
isn't your first language, you can get on your app that has every language, Spanish, English, Armenian, Chinese. You get on your app and you can find places that can help you.
Beautiful.
You need a dentist, you need a doctor, you need to travel, you need to get a nanny. It's all there. You want to find a church that understands and has certain times for your kids so you can come and pray. Yes, it's our time.
I love
This
it.
is our time. This is our movement. This is our moment
Absolutely.
in history.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
let me just say this, Sean, if you don't mind me.
No, go ahead.
I was about to say something. I would say we've posted Just Be the Change, the links on the comments, your Instagram, your Facebook page. What can we do for you? What do you need? How can we help you? How can we help you? Okay, good. So that's fine. So you're raising and you're raising money for your app and for all of that, and then outreach, I'm assuming. And so, like, your goal, what are you trying to what are you trying to accomplish?
Okay, the goal
specific
is
objective?
I want corporate sponsor. We need some big corporate sponsors that believe in this. There's a lot of, I'm not crazy about the celebrities. They're cool, but I think we're the celebrities, honestly. And I just want corporate sponsors. I want to raise enough money to create the app and, potentially get Be on the map and build the followers, build the base, start in LA, move it nationwide, state by state, and grow it. It's just something that is a boots on the ground. This is like literally a grassroots movement. And I wanted to go through legislation. I wanted to get to the top, whether it's the White House, whoever president is, I don't care. I don't care. I care about my child. And I think that it is our time, and it can be a global movement worldwide. You see Earth Day, you see breast cancer, you see all these things. I hate to say it, but I want a black and yellow world. That's Just Be. And Just Be is about for everyone just to be human, just to be kind, just be. And I want my daughter one day to wake up and come home from school and say to me, Mom, can you believe what I learned in school today? Like, there was a time where people like Rio used to get kicked out of restaurants. Can you believe that? Is that crazy? That
Yep.
people used to
Yep.
discriminate against autistic kids? And I'll be like, yeah, it sounds like when I was a kid and I learned about Rosa Parks, you know? Like,
Yeah.
there's a time and a place for understanding, deep understanding. Our children are meant to be this way. They're beautiful. They're amazing. We're lucky. Now the world needs to join our game.
Is incredible. So
Yeah.
Lena, I think this is amazing. And Sean, just for the sake of
Thank
time, you cool if we
Yeah.
because we want
Most
we
definitely.
want it. So by the way, you're amazing. You have 3 children, right? You have 3 children.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so not only are you dealing with this and you know, this organization, you have other children that you do on your own. We'd love to have you have our viewers see your face, and so we want to have you back again and do
Yeah,
this.
what happened?
But we'll talk about a program and stuff that we can do to help support you, and know that, you know, our area in the world of financial services, we're always talking about, you know, money and use of money and how to grow money and how to build it. So Sean and I are gonna work together to, you know, help find a way to support your efforts.
Yeah, this is 501c3, guys. This isn't about me getting a new purse.
Of course.
This is about this is
Right.
donations and grants and really working together collectively to make this world a better place for these kids and these families.
Right.
Just be the change you want to see in the world, right? That's
Yeah,
the
exactly.
idea.
Just be the change.
Yeah, just be the change movement. Sean Hall, our friend and support, Sean Hall, has been posting stuff in the comment section. So
Yeah.
we're gonna start a
Can I
hashtag. Just be
Can
the
I say
change.
one thing?
Yes, of
just
course.
really
Sure.
quick?
Yeah.
So the theme song for Just Be is my anthem that keeps me motivated is I Hope You're Happy by Blue October, which the lead singer gave me full green light that he loves this project. But there's a line in the song coming because I'm a dancer. You know, music is so important to me. And it says, I hope you're happy even if you're not mine.
Yeah.
You don't have to have an autistic child or a family member to want them to be happy. And I think that is so important to recognize that you will meet a neighbor, you'll meet a friend, or you might have a brother or sister that has a child like this. And we just want you to understand and be part of it. You don't have to physically have a child to want to help families and be part of this movement, to just be.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree.
You just have to care that you put yourself in somebody else's shoes for a minute. Think about how you would want to be treated. And then every now and then have the temerity to try and figure out how someone else would want to be treated specifically. So it's one thing to, you know, you treat people as you'd want to be treated, but just as if not more important is, you know, how does that person want to be treated? Sometimes we forget how many things we have in common versus things that separate us.
Love and empathy.
And we all, empathy. And we all, like, I talk to people all the time in other states, and they're like, can we do this in Florida? Can we do this in North Carolina? I'm like, B can be everywhere.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I would love to see a bee sticker on the corner of every establishment. That's, you know,
exactly.
It shows the friendly
When
nature.
a parent walks in and they see the sticker, they can take a breath and know that, okay.
For sure.
Right.
We're wanted here.
This is
right, because that's just it. Every time you go someplace, you wonder what it's going to be like, or heard about it. The food is great. And what I was saying earlier,
you got the little millennials behind there, like, oh my god, look at that kid.
And what I was saying earlier about the whole AMC situation is that they do sensory screening, and I don't know this for a fact, but I would gather that anybody that does that now, especially as far as a theater goes, it's a nice thing to do. It's community involvement. But it's not tied to the language which they speak, as you stated earlier, which is dollars and cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, this has been amazing, and I'm so sorry that we had the technical difficulties that we had.
No
at
worries.
the
I hope you guys heard me okay and everything's good.
I think you came across great, and you're going to see it for yourself if you go check out the live. And hopefully we have a chance to see your face and be in the same room at some point here very shortly, and talk about the things that we can do together. And, you know, let's do a joint campaign of some kind that we can help build the Just Be the Change organization and movement, because I think what you're doing is amazing. And
thank you so much for this opportunity.
Most definitely. And then as we
are a warrior, and we are champions of warriors, and so we love the work you're doing.
And the more soldiers of love that the world has, as corny as it sounds, it's as true as it is corny. The more soldiers of love that they are, the better the world will be. And so as we close out, we want to thank you as well. Thank you for your patience. Thank everyone that joined us, and thank them for their patience through the technical issues. And remind everyone that Brian and I will be on Zoom at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with our financial awareness event for special needs families. Looking forward to you attending as a guest, Layla. And then at the same time, anyone that is interested in attending, send us a private message or DM so that we can get the link to you and make sure that the team gets you registered. And I think we'll be able to do some great things together in the future. And for everybody, just remember again.
Let's go get them.
Yep. And for everyone out there, remember that no matter what you're going through, there's somebody out there that really needs your prayers. There's somebody out there that really needs to know that they were your thoughts. There's somebody out there who would trade your worst nightmares for their dreams in a heartbeat, if only you knew what it is. And the last thing is that there's a lot of people depending on you to succeed out there. And in many cases, it's obviously the people that you know and love, but it's also people that you have yet to meet and may never meet one day. We all have that responsibility, because service to others is the room we pay for, is what we pay for our room here on earth.
For sure.
Definitely.
Good message.
Okay.
Thank you.
love it.
Beautiful.
Layla,
Beautiful.
thank you so much. This has been
All
awesome,
right.
you guys.
Just be the change, guys.
Just be the change, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Just be.
All right.
Bye.
Talk
Thank
Bye.
to
you.
you. Talk to you again soon. Bye. Sean, that was awesome. Great way to wrap it up. Sorry that we got stuck on the technical stuff, which we'll finish up, straighten out for next week.
We got the
We will
fourth
not
quarter
have
right.
that- We will not have that on the Zoom tonight because that's a different setup altogether. So hopefully
Yes.
we'll get folks to join us 6 o'clock tonight Pacific time. That's an hour. We're going to keep that schedule pretty tight. So join us, and we look forward to sharing that financial story with you as well tonight. So thank you, buddy. I love you, and great to be on this with you as always.
Love you too.
As always. So we'll
Thank
see
you.
you next week, but I'll see you tonight.
Thanks.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you again. Bye.